In this lesson we will look at adjectives in Spanish, and we will need to ask ourselves the following questions. Are the nouns we're describing masculine or feminine? Are they singular or plural? Once we have the answers to these questions, we'll know how to change the adjectives in Spanish. Our aims are to learn how to use a reference chart to apply grammar rules and to apply these rules to improve our accuracy. That is a brown dog, but in Spanish that is a dog brown. What does that mean? Quite simply, it means that in Spanish, adjectives, describing words, come after nouns, i.e. the things that they describe. And here we can see a reference chart that will help us to understand this rule. What I'd like to do is copy down this chart as a reference guide for the activities that follow. For example, adjectives that end in o, for example blanco, meaning white, would change to an a when the noun is feminine and singular, os when it's masculine plural, and as when it's feminine plural, giving us blanco, blanca, blancos, blancas. Here we see an adjective that ends in e, inteligente. Notice how it doesn't change between masculine singular and feminine singular, and in the plural all you do is add an s, giving us inteligente, inteligente, inteligentes, inteligentes. And here we see nouns that end in e with an accent s. Notice how from masculine to feminine the accent on the e disappears and an a gets added. This accent doesn't return as it changes to the plural as well. Francés, francesa, franceses, francesas. And DOR now with trabajador, meaning hard working. Notice how you add an a, but then in the plural for masculine it's es, and then for feminine plural as. Trabajador, trabajadora, trabajadores, trabajadoras. And next we see adjectives that end in an, in or on when there's an accent on the vowels. For example, mandon, which means bossy. Notice how again the accent disappears as it did for francés, meaning French. Notice how the adjective disappears and does not return for the feminine singular, masculine plural or feminine plural. Mandon, mandona, mandones, mandonas. And finally ol, al, il with the word ilegal, meaning illegal. Notice how the L doesn't change, it's only in plural when you add an ES, and that's exactly the same for masculine and feminine plural. Ilegal, ilegal, ilegales, ilegales. Here are some common adjectival endings. Just have a little look at them and then match them up in Spanish with the gender, that's masculine or feminine, and the number, singular and plural, of the noun that they describe in English. Here we see masculine singular, o. Masculine plural is blue with green, os. Feminine singular is red, a. And feminine plural is as, as. So if you imagine the colour white that we saw before, blanco, blanca, blancos, blancas. Okay, let's move on. Now look at the following sentences and look up the noun in the dictionary, thinking about all the different adjectival endings we've just seen. Ask yourself these important questions. Is the noun masculine or feminine? Is it singular or plural? And then choose the correct adjective from 1, 2, 3 or 4 in the list provided below. Por ejemplo, A. Es un barco negro. Now the reason we chose negro is because the word barco, if you look it up, is a boat, and it is masculine and singular. The O is a good indication, although this isn't always correct, so it's good to check first if you're not sure. So pause the recording now and have a go at the remaining examples on the list here. If you don't have a paper dictionary, then you can use www.wordreference.com. B. Es una bicicleta roja. It is a red bicycle. Roja agrees with the word bicicleta, which is feminine singular. C. Son edificios modernos. They are modern buildings. Notice how modernos agrees with edificios. D. Mi madre es lista. My mother is clever. Mis padres son generosos. My parents are generous. Notice how parents together are regarded as masculine. Las escuelas inglesas son buenas. English schools are good. Son pueblos pequeños. They are small towns. La comida italiana es deliciosa. Notice how the word italiana also agrees with comida, which is feminine singular. Go back and correct your answer if you've made any mistakes so you can learn from them. Hopefully you won't make the same mistake next time. Now see if you can write the correct adjectives in the blank provided. So remember, what you have to find out is the gender and the number of the noun that is being described by the adjectives. Then apply your knowledge to the adjectives and see how you get on. Por ejemplo, A es un piso moderno. It is a modern flat. Pause the recording and try the other examples here. And once you've finished, remember to self-mark your work so that you can see how you've done and correct any mistakes so you can learn from them. B. Es una casa antigua. It is an ancient house. C. Estas chicas son habladoras. These girls are chatty. D. Las aulas son grandes. These classrooms are big. Es un deportista impresionante. Notice how, although deportista ends in a sports person, it is still masculine in this situation. F. Es una persona astuta. Cunning. Notice how astuta agrees with persona. Regardless of whether you're talking about a man, the word person is feminine. Remember to go back and correct your mistakes, so hopefully you can learn from them and not make the same mistake again. Now you'll see a demonstration of how to apply this knowledge in some examples. And remember, when creating sentences yourself, you can either use a paper dictionary or an online dictionary like wordreference.com. Here's a little reminder. That is a brown dog, but in Spanish, that is a dog brown. Let's look at this first one. It is a grey cat. Now we need two words here. We need the words for grey and cat, so let's look them up. Grey gives us the adjective gris, and then the word for a cat, we'll look it up, and we can see a lion or tiger. No, we want to use the domestic animal, so gato. So we can see that gato is masculine or feminine. In this situation, we'll imagine it's a male cat. So firstly, we need the word it is, then the word for a cat, un gato, and then the colour gris. Okay, let's look at another one. It is a red snake. So we need to find the word for red, which we can see here is rojo. Then the word for a snake, which we can see is una culebra or una serpiente. So, it is a red snake. It is was es. Let's use the word serpiente. Una serpiente. And it was red. So let's go for rojo. Now, because it's una serpiente, we must change that to an A. Next, it is a white fish. So we need the colour white, which as you can see here is blanco, and the word for a fish. And here we see the zoological term un pez. So, es un pez blanco. No change required, because as we saw, un pez is masculine. Next, they are wild dogs. Could be a little bit harder here, but let's have a look. They are is son. So now we need the word for dog, which we can see here is perro, masculine or feminine, because it will be perra in the feminine, and the word for wild. And as you can see, a wild animal is salvaje. So in this situation, we'll imagine they are male, so we'll say son perros salvajes. Okay, last one. They are crazy donkeys. So we need the word they are. Then we need the word for a donkey, which as you can see here is un burro. and then the word for crazy. Mad or foolish, that's the word we want, loco. Son burros locos. Now, as you can see, it doesn't seem to like this, it's covered it in red. Now with Word, if you select the text and then you go language, sets proofing language, and then scroll down the list until you find Spanish, you will see that it gets rid of a lot of the red, and you can see that actually there aren't many mistakes. Okay, now translate these phrases by using a dictionary, remembering to ask yourself the important questions. Is the noun masculine or feminine? Is it singular or plural? And then apply your knowledge to the adjectives that you find. Remember, you can use wordreference.com if you don't have a paper dictionary. Por ejemplo, A. It is a black rabbit. Es un conejo negro. Pause the recording and try the others, and then carry on the recording and correct your answers if you do make any mistakes. This will help you to learn from your mistakes, and hopefully you won't make the same mistakes again. Número 2. It is a yellow tie. Es una corbata amarilla. Número 3. It is an enormous television. Es una televisión enorme. Número 4. It is a fascinating film. Es una película fascinante. Número 5. They are the broken bottles. Son las botellas rotas. Número 6. It is the brave soldier, feminine. Es la soldado valiente. Notice that the word soldado doesn't change even though it is feminine, and the valiente keeps the E as it would do if it was inteligente. Número 7. They are the bossy bosses. There's a mouthful. Let's see how we get on. Son los jefes mandones. Remember to go back and correct any mistakes that you've made, so hopefully you can learn from them. Today we've looked at adjectives in Spanish. We've asked ourselves some important questions. Are they masculine or feminine? Today we've looked at adjectives in Spanish and asked ourselves some important questions. Are the nouns that the adjectives apply to masculine or feminine? Are they singular or plural? Our aims have been to learn how to use a reference chart to apply grammar rules, and then to apply these rules to improve our accuracy. Muy bien. Adiós.